Welcome to episode 72. Jared, can you believe it's episode 72 of Breaking Business Barriers? Hey, this is your host, Brent Duhaime, co-host, the superstar JT, also known as Jared Tye, Buy with Tye. Can't wait for Jared to introduce Ron to a much fuller degree. I'm really looking forward to this one. We're mixing it up a little bit. You know, here we have a really cool story about someone's path, also to where he is today. Super musically talented, which everyone knows. If they've ever heard me talk on this thing, I have zero talent when it comes to music or art. But before we do that, let's thank a couple of our sponsors. Open Media Source platform. They put together podcasts. We'll give you a hand, lift off, can do all the other little stuff behind the scenes, which is really cool. All you have to do is bring your content and they can fix you up. Also, American Option Insurance. All of us need some sort of insurance one way or another, auto, home, renters, all kinds of other things. They primarily in the South and Southeast, also up through the Midwest. So thank them. You can go to openmediasource.com or you can go to AmericanOptionInsurance.com. Go there if you may have a need or want to inquire with any of those folks. But Jared, man, it's all about you giving the proper introduction, to today's guest at Breaking Business Barriers.
Thank you, Brent, so much. I'm so excited to have Ron on today, a man of many talents, American Idol contestant, football player. So I guess I'll just go back to when we met. Ron, I was telling Brent, it's probably about 2 years ago, and my wife and I were on a date at Legacy West in Plano. And there was this guy just sitting outside, singing and playing a guitar. And I told Laura, my wife, I was like, this guy's good. And she's like, yeah. And I said, no, this guy's really good. We got to stop. And we probably sat there and listened to you play, I don't know, 3-5 songs all the way through as at risk of losing our table at dinner. So we're big fans of food and music. So if we risk our food for our music, that means we really like the music.
That's awesome.
Man, thanks for coming on. So you just got such an interesting story. So you grew up in Congo?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I still remember that time. I did grow up in the Congo. I was born and raised there for nearly 10 years of my life.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how did you move to the States?
So as some of you guys know, watching this, and you too may know, the Congo has just been deteriorated because the Congo War and the Second Congo War and the battle between dictatorship and freedom and democracy and all this kind of stuff. It's just left the country in chaos. And so a lot of families were attempted to find refuge in other countries. A lot of folks went to Europe, some went to Canada. And my family, we found refuge in America. So I came here when I was younger, and then dealt with a handful of hardships there, and then I kind of dealt with a handful of hardships here too. But it's all kind of been I would consider all joy and a blessing after all.
That's so interesting. So you've been here in the States for roughly how long now?
Oh man, it's been a while now. It's been like it's between anywhere around like 12-ish, a while.
Wow. Yeah.
Been a while, decade and a half. I'll say that.
So growing up with, the hardships that you faced in the Congo, is it interesting coming here where, we just have so many more luxuries and probably a lot of the things we complain about sound smaller, or would that be a overgeneralization?
Yeah, I've always kind of thought, many times when people learn about me and they suddenly feel ungrateful, or they feel like, oh crap, like I can't complain about my problems. And I always try to tell them, listen, like your feelings are valid. I think that if a 2-year-old drops his lollipop in the sand and a 22-year-old just lost his apartment, the devastation they both feel is both real. But I think it's important for us to understand and put things in perspective that although what I'm feeling sucks, there are people who have it worse. But I never think it's okay for people to invalidate their problems just because
Right.
someone else has it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing that we're seeing people do wrong right now. It's with all of the human rights issues and everything in the news, like people will try to put one cause against another cause, and
Hmm.
it's like everybody deserves their moment. Just because someone else has it bad doesn't mean that this person doesn't deserve their moment in
Sure.
history. So, how long have you been playing music?
Man, I've been in love with music for a lot longer than I've been playing it. I fell in love with music overseas. The Congo is a very musical place.
Hmm.
The percussions and the rhythm. Everybody just likes to play and dance. I remember when it was very common to have power outages, and have to use lanterns and stuff like that a lot at night. And whenever we'd have power outages, you could hear the whole village just go, "Oh," I will never forget it. So then we'd all go outside and grab buckets and turn on our lanterns, and we would just beat on these buckets and sing.
Is that right?
And then whenever the power would come back on, you hear the whole village go, "Hey," you know, and you know, and I just thought it was so cool that even in the midst of that darkness, we still felt together, and we let the light, the light that we were able to shine together was beyond visual, and so that's where my love for music was born. There's a lot of culture and a lot of history, and then I came to the States, and when I was in about sixth grade, you had to be in choir, band, or orchestra, and I wanted to be in band because I wanted to be a drummer.
Hmm.
And they messed up my schedule. They put me in choir, and I was like, "Yo, hey teacher, I'm not supposed to be in here." She was like, "Well, just do choir for a week, and if you don't like it, you can go ahead and go back to band." So I stuck it out, trying to be a good sport. Stuck it out for a week. She heard me sing, and then she was like, "You're not going anywhere." And and so that's kind of how it started for me singing. It was not, I didn't want to sing. I was
Yeah,
forced into it. And then after that mandatory semester, I was like, peace, I'm gone, and then didn't mess around with music again towards like my end of high school time, early college time. So this whole thing is pretty relatively new to me, but which also is just a sign to me that I ran for music my whole life. Like I didn't want to do music. I wanted to play football. And so when I see that someone has tried to so intentionally to not do music, yet it just keeps progressing. It's just, I think it's a sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
that's so cool, man. I'll never forget that night that we met. We started talking, and uh, come to find out that you had a audition and everything, or I guess you were already lined up to go to Hollywood on American Idol, and it was kind of hush hush at the time, and we were just making small talk, and I think I told you that I had an idea to go sing Christmas carols at a nursing home, and
Hmm.
here you are, this guy going on American Idol, and you're like, "I'm down, let's go do that." So
Yeah, no,
we went probably within a couple weeks and sang at a nursing home, man. I'll never forget that. It was super fun.
yeah. I think that anybody who um, thinks that they're too talented or whatever to do something like that does not deserve that platform. I
That's
think our talent, the way that I see it, it's like our talent, wherever that talent is for you. For me, it's music. It's a gift given to you. Like talent is something. That's why I love skilled people. Skilled people. I personally enjoy skilled people more than I enjoy talented people. Fun fact, because when I hear a talented singer, I'm like, you did nothing to deserve that, right?
interesting.
But when I see someone who's a skilled singer, it's like, man, you busted your tail and you worked hard for that. So oftentimes, when I encounter talented people who think they are certain things are below them, I'm like, you know, I don't think that's cool because it's like that was given to you as a gift, and that gift is intended to be given back to others. And so I feel like my musical gift is not for me; it's for the other people. So And anytime I get an opportunity to share it with other people, I'm going to do it because that's what I was given the gift for.
I think this might be the perfect opportunity to to let you sing a song, man. We'd love to hear you do one.
Yeah, sure.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Love it.
Can you hear my guitar?
Yep.
Am I doing one or two songs? How are we doing this?
You can pump out one. We can pump out one right now, and then if we have some time, we'll wrap it up with some tunage.
Okay, so in that case, I'll do my song "Learning to Love" that I released in 2018 before I went on my 2-year hiatus. I was dealing with some contractual just craziness, no other way to put it, that I finally broke free from, and in November of 2019. But this is the last thing I put out, and I wrote this song on an airplane headed to Los Angeles, California. I was getting ready. I'd gotten booked to open up for Jamie Foxx for Autism Speaks at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Just really, really crazy opportunity that most artists, at my level would just kill for. And many people would like, I think even major artists would like to play with Jamie Foxx, and so I'm on the plane headed there, and his daughter Corinne Fox was the MC and host, and then we found out that through her that her dad double booked himself for a film shooting, and so everyone's like freaking out at the event, and then somebody decided, it's like, hey, I'll step up and headline, and they reached out to me like, it's Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl's gonna do it, and I was like, who the heck is Dave Grohl? I had no idea who Dave Grohl was. And then I asked my agent at the time, I was like, is it the guy from the Red Hot Chili Peppers or something? And he's like, definitely not. Dave Grohl's a freaking rock star, superstar. So I was like, never heard of him. So then I get on Google and I'm like, do the whole thing that we all do. Let's be real. I go, Dave Grohl net worth. Just to see, because unfortunately that's how sometimes we rank people's, success level or whatever. Unfortunately, embarrassed to admit that. But anyway, and so I get to on this plane, I get my phone out and I'm like kind of talking to the corner, because I was thinking about, I came here from a third world country, as a refugee, and I'm headed to Beverly Hills to play with Dave Grohl. If that's not the most two extreme things you can do in your lifetime, I was just very grateful, and it inspired this song, and that's kind of how I wrote the song. Whoa, 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 I was never taught how to love someone like you, and I have always fought to be loved until I met you. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad, learning to love through the right and the wrong, learning to love you, it drives me insane. But I wouldn't want it any other way. I was never taught how to love someone like you, and I have always fought to be loved until I met you. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad. I'm learning to love the right and the wrong, learning to love you, it drives me insane. I wouldn't want it any other way. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. I'm just learning to love through the good and the bad. Learning to love through the right and the wrong. Learning to love you drives me insane. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Bravo.
Merci beaucoup. J'ai
That
pas
was
français,
awesome,
actually.
man. Good work.
I'm lighting the
Thank
flame.
you.
Here we go, right there. Awesome. Hey, you know what, Ron? I'm sitting back here thinking, if you took like 10 more plane rides, you'll have a platinum record or 2 or 3 hanging up on your wall right behind you. How awesome is that, man? Goosebumps all day long. Awesome.
I can't tell you how awkward I looked just sitting in the corner of I had a window seat and I was like, oh, you know?
So great, man. And I was thinking about how cool is that you've always been a big fan of drums. And Dave Grohl, man, one of the most
I know. Oh my gosh.
most famous drummers of all time, I think. And I won't talk too long about him, but I thought it was so interesting how after Nirvana, he decided to do his own band. And I remember at the time thinking like, oh, how cute. The drummer from Nirvana is trying to ride on the, coattails. And looking back to Foo Fighters is arguably the most enduring, 90s band they're bigger than just that era. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But I'm a big Dave Grohl fan, so it's so cool that you
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
Ron, you've come from the Congo to the United States, as a young person with family, thank goodness, right? You had some support there. I'm sure that was nerve-wracking, but I've got to ask, as a fan, how nervous were you going to American Idol? I mean, that had to be, some of my family members watch that routinely, and I just look at a lot of these folks that are on it going, they're all so talented. It's incredible. Were you nervous?
Yeah, so I did come here with my family, but soon after I was separated from my family, my biological family, and I ended up growing up in TPS got involved and foster world got involved, and I ended up spending a lot of time in a children's home called City House, and just bounced around a lot, man. So for me to be in front of strangers was no foreign thing. Just from coming to America, and I'd never seen so many white people before, so I was just like silent, you know what I'm saying? Like just soaking it all in, I flew into New York. So I went from like middle of nowhere, Africa, to New York City. You know what I'm saying? Culture shock. Never seen so many white people in my entire life. I don't think I talked for like 2 or 3 days when I got here. And also I couldn't speak English. I didn't know any English. And then, but yeah, I mean, American Idol, there's nothing like it. Every single time I was backstage, thought my heart was about to explode out of my chest. I mean, it was like, when you meet a pretty girl and you're finally about to make your move and say something, or you're about to go in for a kiss and you fail miserably or something. It was just heart pounding, because the producers, would open up a little curtain. He's like, all right, Ron, you ready to go? And I turn, I'm like, no, and then he's like, all right, get out here. And you walk out there, there's freaking tons of people in person. You got the judges sitting there, freaking icons, legends looking at you. You're mic'd up in freaking a bunch of different angles and places. You got cameras all over the place. And then you got millions of people watching at home. So it's just like, we had one round where it was celebrity duet rounds. It brought in a lot of celebrities during that time. So I got to meet, BB Rexa, Sugarland, you know, um, just everybody, man. Banners, Kobe Kelly, like all these people came in. And I remember, and I was the dork that was using everybody's lyrics in a sentence while talking to them. You know what I'm saying? Even with Luke Bryan, I was like, "Hey, Luke, I'm gonna head back to Texas now and find a country girl to shake it for me." And he about fell out of his chair. I was just I was having fun with it. But when I wasn't just being a goofball Ron, I was being freaking about to pass out, anxiety. Like it's just, I felt like it was industry boot camp. And during my my celebrity duet round, I was like in the like little tour bus with banners, and he was like, "Mate, I just want to tell you, bruv, because he's from the UK. He's like, I want to tell you, bruv, this here is not the industry. You'll never have this many cameras on you, this many microphones on you, this many million people watching you, this many at once. So just have fun with it, bro. And and that's what it was. It was that's not the industry. That is like the hyper focused on steroids moment in the industry. So it would definitely, there isn't a single stage I step on now that I'm nervous anymore.
So
Incredible.
I thought, watching the show, like I thought you did awesome, man. With that said, when I watched it, I was like, man, he's even better in person. Like if you knew him, if you got more than like a, 60-second clip, you'd appreciate, your music even more. So it's funny how, I guess on those shows, editing, because again, you sounded great, but I don't feel like it captured quite your full, talent. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As a matter of fact, my audition round, I have an artist friend of mine in Dallas. Literally, I auditioned and he texted me. He was like, "What was that?" You know what I'm saying?
Just what you wanted to hear, right?
I was just so nervous. Like my
Yeah.
audition, I know a lot of people, were digging it. I got featured on like Daily Mail, People Magazine, Billboard. All these people were like excited about my performance, but I know deep down inside, like that was not me. As far as like that didn't properly capture me, and that's part of the pressure of the show. They're producing the TV show where you're under a lot of pressure, a lot of competition. But when I get an opportunity to do my thing, nothing people saw um, on American Idol is a true representation of what I'm capable of. So that's why I'm so excited that I'm free now. I'm done with those legal obligations from just everything that's happened, to where I can release and do my thing. Man, like, because this new single is a more accurate representation of me than anything people saw on Idol.
That's awesome, man. So, in addition to music, I can't keep up with you, man. You're playing football now.
Yeah, again, I'm playing football again. So, pre getting into music, I was a football player. I played quarterback. I was an all-state quarterback. I played in Plano, and then I played at Canyon Creek Christian Academy for a little bit, and then went back to Plano. And I was able to get a really, really big, massive football scholarship to go play in Oklahoma, play quarterback up there. And I just got surgery on both of my knees. I tore my knees, which my foster mom, she kept egging me to do singing because he was like, "I hate to see you hurt." And then I medical redshirted my first year, and it was just a grind to get back onto the field and everything. And when I finally was able, everything was good. I was going to be playing again onto the field. That's when music started to happen. So I had to make a decision. I met a producer who was like, "Man, I think you're talented. I think you're going to be Ed Sheeran big or bigger." I was like, "Whoa, dude, settle down." Like, I haven't put out anything yet. At the time, I hadn't released anything when he heard me sing. And he was like, "I think you need to pick music or football because with how much talent you have, you're going to need to really focus on music." So I walked away from my football scholarship. I dropped out of college. I saved up a whole whopping $600, and I moved into downtown Plano. And it was really cool. I actually moved into an apartment complex that I used to always dream of living in when I was homeless and I was sleeping outside. So I was able to move into Junction 15, right in downtown Plano. And I started doing music there, and I just haven't looked back since. Um, it's been a crazy ride, but since now I've got kind of like some momentum going again. I've got the infrastructure, like I got a really solid team and a lot of people in the industry that are working with me and wanting to work with me. I really was kind of just thinking about all the problems that are happening in the world. When I flew out of the Congo and out of Africa, I looked back and I remember telling myself, like, looked outside the window, I was like, I'm gonna come back and make a difference here one day. And my life goal has always been to, um, you know, I feel like my purpose here on earth is to love God and love His people, and I want to go back there and love on those people. There, from what I saw in my last research, average Congolese person brings in about 450 to 930 US dollars a year. The GDP there is just low. The poverty, the famine, the everything. It's so. I want to do a similar thing that Akon is doing in I think Sudan. He's building a city, and he's building infrastructure. He's building hospitals and schools. I want to do that thing for the village I was in my home country. And I know that in order to be able to do that kind of thing, you got to really understand cash flow from a micro to a macro level, from a small business to a government level. And I'm just really passionate about that. So I decided to go back to school and study finance and economics, and then also get I'm working on 2 degrees right now on top of everything. So I'm working on a finance economics degree, and I'm also working on a human rights degree, because a lot of the problems there, poverty and human rights is like the two biggest things. So that's kind of so I was like, well, I'm going back to school. I'm going to study those things because that's a later down the road investment for my bigger picture plan that I'm doing. But in order, like, school's expensive, so I was like, what's the way that I personally know how to decrease my school price? Playing football. So I was like, hey, I reached out to the football coach. It's like, coach, my name's Rambo Tonguez. Like, I played football here, and I'd love to come. I'm planning on coming to school here anyway. If I could cut down some of my costs and play football and get on the scholarship, I'd love to do that. They looked at my film, and they offered me a scholarship to go play quarterback again, which is crazy. And then also because the coach's wife is a huge fan, she was like, "You better sign him, or else you're sleeping on the couch." And so that worked out really well. And so yeah, I've been training all summer, spring and summer. I've been doing some football training, and I'm back in class. I'm taking my finance classes and human rights stuff right now, and I'm tackling football and music and school and being a single dad and working and all that. And I don't talk about this too much because I got to earn my stripes, but I've switched gears now. I'm ready. I'm trying to be the first quarterback to win a championship and Grammy in the same year. Like, that's my goal.
That's bold. I love it.
Man, as we wrap things up, first of all, that was a lot to pack, and unpacking your story is like I could talk to you for the next 5 hours. I mean, it's just incredible. So let's just revisit that for a minute. So you come.
That was a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it's phenomenal. Well, and there's a reason why I'm dressing this up a little bit. So you come from the Congo. Essentially, you go to New York, and it's a whole new world. I can't imagine. I'm from South Dakota. I went to New York, and it was a new world to me. So let alone coming from the Congo. But you've made your way. Athlete, musician. I mean, you're riding so much higher doing this. I don't even know where you had time. Maybe you slept like 3 or 4 minutes a night. But and where I'm going with this, congratulations, number one. What an inspiration. I mean, it's the first time I've had an opportunity to meet you, and goosebumps the whole time. So
Wow.
Jared and I often ask if you could pass along in a couple of minutes, if you could pass along some advice to a young person, maybe someone going through, a change where they want to do something different and chase their passion. Is there a bit of information or advice that you pass along?
Um, you know, I think that I, I I would say I every year I pick a handful of Plano Independent School District schools that I visit and I speak to them. I bring my guitar. We have a good time, and I leave them off with like I think I call this the two most important rules in life to remember. And the number one rule I think, from my perspective, is that life is not fair. And I think the sooner you can accept that, the better off you'll be. I think that a lot of people are expecting so many things in their life to be fair. And when that's your expectation, you're going to be disappointed every single day. But on the same, and that kind of sounds dark a little bit, but then on the same token, the second most important rule is that um, although life isn't fair, you don't have to go through it alone. I think there's so much power in unity and in community and power in numbers. And so it's kind of like, if you look at it in analogy, life can be like a bench press. You're laying there, and the obstacles that we face and the adversity we face is like the 45-pound plates. And you just have to accept that those 45-pound plates are heavy. That's like, life is not fair. But then you realize, like, you can have a spotter behind you. You can have two spotters on the left and the right, and that weight isn't so heavy to carry anymore. Like, and so I think it's really important for the dreamers out there to understand, like, hey, I'm going to face some challenges, but I don't have to face them alone. And a recent lesson that I've learned that has been a game changer for me is that a lot of people in the music industry, like Katy Perry on national television, it's kind of embarrassed me in front of the world. Was kind of like, I think you're a mimic. I don't think you know who you are yet. I don't think you've figured out your voice. And then I found that a lot of people in the industry were like, you are everywhere, like stylistically, genre-wise, like who is Ron? Like, what's Ron's sound? Like, you're doing country and then you're doing pop and then doing blues. Like, what is your sound? Like, you got to know how to market yourself. You're scattered everywhere in negative light. And what I've learned these last 2 years, I've had a lot of time to reflect. And the music I've made, about 75 songs I've got stored away these last 2 years. And what I've learned from these last 75 records, without releasing them and without having to hear other people's opinions, is that I am everywhere because that's my style. My style is everything. I'm not a chicken place. I don't make chicken all day. I'm a buffet, And one day I'm going to put out a country record. Then the next day I might put out a pop record. I might put out a blues record. And the lesson there is just like, trust yourself. Nobody wants to buy a home from a realtor that isn't confident about what he's talking about. So to trust yourself and to listen to the voice that's inside. It gets real blurry when you're listening to a bunch of different voices. No one knows the way you feel when you play the blues, when you play country music, so no one knows how you feel when you study law or when you bake, whenever you only know how doing certain things makes you feel. So run towards whatever that thing is that makes you feel alive.
Ron, that's
my advice.
incredible. That is incredible, and we'll be sure to do your write-up justice on this one, because again, there's a lot to unpack, and I think JT and I would love to have you back again. Your story is, unbelievable. I mean, it really is. What an inspiration. And
Thank you
to
guys so
myself,
much.
Jared, and everyone who has an opportunity to listen. And thank you for taking time to join both Jared and I. And as long as everyone knows, Ron was in his vehicle hustling home when we were getting ready to get started. He was just rolling with it. He was just rolling with it. Just no problem. He comes from the Congo, goes all over, to Beverly Hills. Oh, by the way, he's American Idol. Oh, he's a dad too. So, and playing football in college, studying 2 degrees. I don't know where you have the time to do all that, but my gosh, is it impressive.
Time
JT,
management.
yeah, it's just, thank you again. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
What an incredible inspiration. And with that, we probably let you get back to just a few things that you have to do, Ron. Just a couple of things today, I'm sure. But
Ron was going to do one more song, though, if we have time.
Nope. We got to roll. I'm up against the bumper here. I would love to next time. We'll hold him to it the next time. But Ron, would love to hear you again, man. It's in fact, if you would agree to come back, we'll make sure that you're on again soon, because I love the tunage and what have you. But with that, hey, JT, Brent Duhaime, and Ron, this has been a fun episode of Breaking Business Barriers. And as we wrap it up, onward and upward, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.